What's going on, my super fams? So as you have already seen, Xingqiu is finally back on our official banner of New Blitz and Hu Tao. Now it's actually been a while since we talked about Xingqiu specifically, I think all the way back since Inazuma. However, it's already Fontaine and patch 4.1 and I think it's finally time to have some updated new guide information on Xingqiu. Not to mention, he is still one of, if not the best Hydro character in the game, while also being a 4-star character too. He definitely deserves some more look into. Now guys, if you're planning to pull for character in patch 4.1 yet you're still lacking in Primo Gems, then in collaboration with Paimon's Bargain, we're doing a huge giveaway when patch 4.1 comes, which is basically in a few hours time as the moment I release this video. And so if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and join my Discord server where the giveaway will be held. And with that guys, let us just jump into the video. Now, as I've mentioned, it's been a while since we touched on Xingqiu, therefore there are quite some new content regarding to him that we can work around with. First off, obviously there are going to be Dendro character who already been released since patch 3.0. Characters such as Kaveh would love to have Xingqiu on his team, where his kit is centered around Bloom team, and Xingqiu synergizes really well with Kaveh's Dendro converted normal attack while providing defensive utility for him as well, which is really nice for Kaveh. Alhaitham is also a character that can make use of Xingqiu absolutely well on his team, especially for Hyper Bloom teams. Furthermore, with Xingqiu's interruption to resistance and defensive utility that he gives, and of course Hydro application too, is very helpful for Alhaitham specifically. Now if you are a Wanderer's main, then you can definitely appreciate Xingqiu being there as well, because definitely one of the most important thing is resistance to interruption, because Wanderer is absolutely sick and tired of getting interrupted whenever he is doing his combo. Although Wanderer tends to emphasize on personal damage over reaction damage because he is an Anemo DPS character, Xingqiu still provides good damage off-field for Wanderer, and in a few teams where Wanderer teams do emphasizes on reaction, Xingqiu Hydro applications can be very valuable as well. Now in patch 4.0, we definitely have some of the new character like, you know, Lynette. She's an Anemo support character that provides a lot of 4-piece Viridescent for Shred, as well as provides some decent attack buffing for the team, so definitely Lynette and Xingqiu sometimes can be seen, especially if you are free to play team building. Also Fremine as well, if you are still using Fremine. I love Fremine's attacking gameplay. Of course Xingqiu can be on Fremine's team quite a lot of the time, so that can be very valuable. Also there have been some decent weapon addition to the game that can benefit Xingqiu. First off, it's going to be the Wolf Fang, a great option for you if you do go for the Battle Pass, and when Xingqiu have already met his energy requirements, this sword can provide him with decent damage and crit rate increase for his skills and spurs. Now the Ferryman is definitely one of the better free-to-play options that has been given, because it can be obtainable through fishing and it provides a lot of energy recharge for Xingqiu. So if you are lacking in some of the better Favonius or Sack sword energy recharge giving option, then this Ferryman can be a stand-in. We also have our Fontaine craftable weapon, the Finale of the Deep, that provides pretty good attack buffing whenever the passive is activated, though it doesn't really give you any energy regeneration. However, the passive, if it's activated with the Bond of Life, it does give a pretty decent attack bonus. Moving on, I want to quickly touch on Xingqiu's skills and kit again so that you are aware of his power level. Now you won't be using much of his normal attack unless you are basically having him as a driver for you, so normal attack most of the time will be neglected. The most important thing starts when it comes to his E skill. Whenever you use it, you perform a twin strike sword that deals Hydro damage 2 times and creates what's called Rain Sword. Now Rain Sword is very important for Xingqiu, for what it does is that it helps your on-field character with resistance to interruption while being able to heal you for a bit whenever it is shattered or its duration ends. Not only that, it will be reducing the amount of damage taken for your on-field character as well, so this is very good utility that Rain Sword gives to your team from Xingqiu. Now at first it will be creating you only 3 Rain Sword, however after C1 that will be up to a 4 Rain Sword, so a little bit more of room for reducing damage taken as well as a bit more healing for the team. But the most important important part of Xingqiu definitely goes for his elemental burst. For whenever you use it, you get what's called sword rain attack, and also rain sword is going to be on for the whole duration of his elemental burst as well. So how this is done is that whenever you use a normal attack on your on-field character, they will fire off the sword rain attack that deals hydro damage to your enemies and applying a ton of hydro elements as well. Now if you are pre-C6 Xingqiu, the number of sword fire whenever you use your normal attack will alternate between a 2 sword and a 3 sword. So for example, you do your first normal attack, it will create 2 sword rain, and then you use your next normal attack, it will create 3 sword rain. However, once you hit C6, the pattern will now change to 2, 3 and 5. So in other words, your third normal attack will now create up to 5 sword rain, which is absolutely really good, especially for C6. For his first passive, we already know the rain sword whenever shattered or durations ends will heal your on-field character HP based on 6% of Xingqiu's max HP. And then his second passive give him a 20% hydro damage bonus, which is pretty nice considering most of the time you want to have more damage done from his burst. For talent priority, we don't really have to discuss too much. For most of the time you will be focusing on his burst as well as his skills. So yes, try to level up his burst talent first, and then afterward, if you can, try to go for his skills because it does do decent damage with his E skill. Next, let's touch on Xingqiu's constellation because it's absolutely very important that you try to have as many constellation on him as you can. Do note that Xingqiu is very functional at C0, so you don't need constellation on him, but having constellation does give a lot of quality of life to Xingqiu and especially for your team, so that is something you want to have on him. For his C1, increase the maximum number of rain sword by 1, so as before we have 3, now you have a 4. Just a slight bit of quality of life given to you, not too much important here. But C2 is Xingqiu's second best constellation that he has. For now, his burst rain cutter duration is increased by 3 seconds, or in other words, it's technically an 18-second uptime, while also decreasing hydro resistance of 15% whenever the sword rain attack hits your opponent. C4 increases the damage of Xingqiu's skill by 50% if you use it during Xingqiu's burst. It can be worth making use of this constellation whenever you can, but it's not so important that you should be forced to switch into Xingqiu during your rotation just so that he can do his E skill. But the most important constellation on him would be C6. I would recommend you to try and get Xingqiu C6 as fast as you can. For now, on the third rain sword hit, Xingqiu will be firing off 5 sword rain, which I have discussed on his elemental burst section above, while also regenerate him 3 energy that helps him with his energy requirement. Now for Xingqiu's playstyle, he does actually have quite a couple, but I just want to zoom in mostly on his on-field and off-field gameplay. As for on-field, I've mentioned that most of the time he's just going to be an on-field driver for you. I don't really recommend you and try to go for investing into his normal attack talent and have him doing normal attack damage on field, because it's not going to be that much damage and you're wasting quite a lot of resources and try to maximize his normal attack talent. Obviously, the best gameplay for him is going to be off-field. For Xingqiu can be a sub DPS character that deals a lot of off-field damage while applying a ton of hydro application for your team. This is what Xingqiu is known for and he is very good at, while providing you a lot of utility for defensive, healing and resistance to interruption, which is really nice. Moving on to Xingqiu's best artifacts build, there have already been a lot of artifacts being introduced in the game. However, ever since Inazuma, the Emblem Fate set is still technically the best build artifact sets for him because it provides everything Xingqiu needs, from energy recharge while increasing his elemental burst damage, which is so valuable on him. Noblesse Oblige is still usable on him, however it won't be helping him out too much with personal damage and more about providing your team with attack buff if you don't really have any character on your team to go with Noblesse Oblige. So guys, just either go with the 2 sets. If you can, try to go with the emblem sets so that you maximize Xingqiu's potential. As for artifact stats guys, I really would recommend you to go with energy recharge sands, hydro goblets and then crit ratio circlet. By using this, we will be able to ensure that his energy recharge requirement is up to standard, as well as helping him do decent number of damage from hydro boost and crit ratio being built onto him. For energy requirements guys, you want to note that whenever if he is pre C6, you want to have at least 200% energy recharge built onto Xingqiu, and if he is already at C6, then he can be at around 180%. However, the more energy recharge he has the better, especially when you go with Emblem Fate set. But from my experience, he usually needs at least 200% energy recharge and above to ensure that he always have his burst back whenever his cooldown ends. Onto Xingqiu's best weapon, guys. The Primordial Jade Cutter is still the best in terms of personal damage, giving him a lot of crit rate while giving him a bit of HP increase so that he gives a little bit more healing for the team. After that, it can be the Mist-Splitter if you are planning to have him do a little bit more damage. Skyward Blade, guys, if you have it on your account, is still pretty viable on Xingqiu, for it does give pretty good base attack with a decent number of energy recharge and also a little bit crit rate to help him out. Now for the 4-star options, I do really just recommend you to go with either Favonius Sword or Sack Sword, because those are technically his BIS option. For the 4-star option, I would definitely prefer you guys go with the Sack Sword, for his E skill has very long cooldown period, so giving him Sack Sword is usually the better option. Other than that, we have the Ferryman. If you do have it, it can be a good thing to have on your Xingqiu if you're lacking in the other Favonius and Sack Sword options. Finale of the Deep is also a craftable fountain option that we have mentioned before. Good attack increase if you do happen to have his energy requirements already been met. Alright guys, now we move on to the most exciting part of the video, which is team building for Xingqiu. Some of the most important point to note is that Xingqiu is a very versatile character that can basically fit on any team that you want to have him on, because he has very strong hydro application with decent damage if you actually build that onto him. Not to mention, he provides everything while being off field, therefore it's the main reason why that he can fit on any team that you want. Some of the downside regarding Xingqiu is that he requires normal attack weaving, guys, so characters such as aim shot bow user like Ganyu, Tainari or Linny won't be able to have Xingqiu on their team. Without having an Nemo unit to help Xingqiu's war hydro, guys, he basically gonna be a single targeted sub DPS character that the sword ring will only aim at a single target at one time. Furthermore, something to note, guys, is that Xingqiu's burst won't be snapshotting with Bennett's burst. And something good about Xingqiu's utility is that when paired with other strong shielder like Beidou, Zhongli being on his team, most of the time you won't be needing any other healer, because Xingqiu Rain Sword should technically be a decent heal enough for your on-field character. And so guys, as I've mentioned, Xingqiu will be fitting on most of the team you want. However, let's discuss some of the best team that we have found Xingqiu to be in, so that you can have an idea of building Xingqiu whenever you try to build a team around him on your account. First off, for Vaporized team, it will be Xingqiu, Hu Tao, Yelan and Zhongli, one of the best Vaporized team that we have found him in. Now Taser team isn't as popular as before, but we can still use Taser, and that will feature Xingqiu, Fischl, Sucrose and Beidou. Raiden National have been a very popular team ever since Raiden Shogun have come, and is still viable until now, that features Xingqiu, Raiden, Xiangling and Bennett. This team can still pretty much clear some of the toughest content in the game, especially before Dendro Reaction arrive. Now Freeze team is still viable and absolutely some of the best team that Xingqiu can be in, where it features Xingqiu, Ayaka, Kazuya and Diona. After patch 3.0, we definitely already have Dendro team options, like Hyper Bloom team, which features Xingqiu, Nahida, Alhaitham and Kuki Shinobu. And of course, Xingqiu can still find himself being on Bersian team as well, which features Xingqiu's Nahida, Toma and Kokomi. So those, I would say, are some of the best team options that we have found Xingqiu to be in. Obviously, again, we have a lot more options of Xingqiu to be in the team, and that should be everything I have to say regarding Xingqiu. I hope that the video have been very informative for you. If you do have any questions, just leave it down in the comment, and I or some other lovely Genshin Impact player will get to you there. Now guys, if you are deciding to pull for patch 4.1 characters yet you haven't been able to decide, then I have a very in-depth video going through that, and I am sure it will be very helpful to you. So be sure to check out the video right here. Again guys, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, as there will be a huge giveaway coming very soon, and it's absolutely good chance for you to grab a lot of Primo Gems. I really appreciate you guys sticking with me till this part of the video, and with that I wish you a super day, and I will catch you on my next video.